This is just a short introduction to a series of 3 videos I've done, which are basically describing the human condition and our so-called reality that we experience as a species within the world that has been established by a self-appointed elite, and which now controls the whole planet via its very unstable black hole economy, and which is at the moment dictating also humanity's future. And the 3 videos that I've made, although a couple of them, they are quite lengthy, at the same time the information I'm sharing is very, very important. And I have presented the truth of how we're living. I've tried to give an example through my own life. I've relied on my own life experience, an honest account, and as somebody who has self-developed and who has an in-depth understanding of my own life, and also seeing my own self as a microcosm of both the world and the universe that created me. And I think it's very, very important that people connect with certain issues. And I could have written everything that I've done. I could have written it in a book and sold it, But you see, universal intelligence is not for sale. Okay, it's not something to be bought and sold. Knowledge isn't really something to be bought and sold. Knowledge is something to be shared, and I'm sharing it freely and openly, and for the benefit of life. That's the only reason why I share. Now, it is possible that a lot of the things I share, because they are quite profound, may be picked up on by other people who probably will not bother to mention me in the credits for that. Not that I particularly want any credit, but what does disturb me is if people start to use that knowledge, which has come to me through my life experience, which I'm freely sharing. If other people then start picking up on that knowledge and start using it to elevate their self as an ego, if they then try to make money out of it, okay, and they start to think that they've got a right, if people start following them, well, no, because anybody can read a book and spout something out because it's believable and they think they can have power over people through that. The purpose of my sharing my life story and my experiences is not to empower myself, to ask people to follow me, but to ask people to empower other people's self, and to ask people to follow the universal intelligence that revealed itself to me. Okay? And when you follow that, and then you will find the universal intelligence and you will guide yourself. Be very, very wary of people who are standing up saying, I am Jesus, or I'm the second coming. Okay? That Jesus does not return to earth like that. Jesus returns to earth. Jesus comes back when humanity returns to the true self. Okay? That is when we return to Jesus. That's when Jesus lives again on earth, when humanity becomes human, because Jesus as a character, whether you believe there was a character called Jesus or not. Nonetheless, that consciousness has existed throughout time on earth, that consciousness of universal law, of forgiveness, of living compassionately, of living lawfully, has been struggling to get heard throughout the centuries, throughout time of humanity, to the point that, you know, we develop laws. And Jesus came to try and bring balance, to show us, you know, that the law has to have a heart. And even Islam does that. You know, a lot of people use Sharia law and state this is Islamic law. The actual fact of it is, Sharia law was around a long time before Islam. Look at the Bible, Christianity. They were stoning people to death. They were stoning the adulteress to death. Okay. They were chopping off hands of people who stole. Sharia law existed before Islam. Islam did not create Sharia law. It got incorporated into Islam. In the same way that, you know, the Bible has the 10 Commandments. However, what Islam did do to Sharia law was it included the legal right to forgive. That's what Sharia law did. It included the right to forgive. It included the right to be compassionate, to be merciful, to be kind. Yes, all the harsh punishments and judgments are there, and, you know, humanity will operate on those things, okay, at that time. But there was also room for people to say, oh, well, I forgive this person. Yes, they did steal. Yes, the law does say they should have the hand chopped off, but actually this person was starving. So I am going to forgive them, and the law then backs off and says, oh, okay. Do you see what I mean? So, and this is what my work is trying to do, is to show people, you know, the true humanity, and to help people to connect with our true humanity. And I present my work in a particular way for the purpose that I could reach everybody, okay? Because I've been having problems thinking, well, you know, I should be more professional, you know. I mean, I haven't got much money, that is the truth. I'm just a carer. I'm on a carer's salaries, but it's really low salary. And actually, you know, I've had such financial difficulties the last couple of years. So I'm on a minimum thing, and I just can't afford to spend money on expensive, like, presentation things. And also, I'm very busy because I'm a carer, but I'm also busy helping the people around me as well, you know. So, and also keeping informed and updated about everything that's happening. So, you know, my videos, although they might seem a bit strange, there's something in there for everybody, and they can reach everybody, you know, especially to the people on the ground. I hope that they can connect with me as a fellow street person, as it were. Okay? I'm a street child. So the children on the street, I talk to you, but I'm also talking to the highly educated professional people who will also connect with things that I'm saying, because I am very educated. I am academically educated as well. So I am speaking to a broad spectrum of society, hopefully in a way that everybody will be able to understand it, and also to be real, to keep it real, not to have it up there's like, oh, a BBC presentation where your whole consciousness gets taken out of reality for a few minutes, an hour or so, and then suddenly you're back in the real world where none of that really makes a jot of difference. That is the exact opposite of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to, bring you into the real world. And so when you turn off, the video is finished, everything is still there in the real world. You're still in the real world. Because what I'm talking about is the real world. And to bring these things into your reality. I have focused on the moon as an important stage of the development of the fantasy that we're presently living in. These are the full colour pictures of the moon. This is what we should have seen on the Apollo missions. Okay? Now, they cannot say that the camera equipment of that time could not pick up these colours, because we can see the full colours on the flag, the American flags and the spacecraft, even from a distance. So, these are the real shots of the moon. Okay. I mean, some of the colours are enhanced, but the moon is not this colour. There is absolutely no way that the moon is that colour. The moon is not black and white. Okay. And it's completely ridiculous to suggest that it is. A reddish colour, bluish, greens. Because it's just impossible that the moon would be completely black and white. Of course it looks, because it's quite reflective, it looks white from Earth. But obviously if you get closer up to it, it's, there is going to be colour. These are the natural colours. Natural colour of the moon. And I've referred to the Apollo missions for the specific reason that although people, can cling to a lie, that they can say, yes, we did go to the moon. It's a dangerous thing, even though people believed, and I'm sure people did it for the best reasons, because that's what these people do that want to lie to humanity and control humanity. They want to, they give reasons, and they told the people who did know what was going on, who were in on the conspiracy, firmly believed that it was their patriotic duty to come first. And if that meant they had to cheat to be a winner, so be it. It was for the good of humanity, because we couldn't let Russia be a winner, because Russia was evil. Okay. Well, there's no two ways about it. Stalin was evil, and the communism, the bastardisation of socialism that he set up as communism, was an evil thing. But that's not to say it didn't have some benefits to people. But on the other hand, so was the equal bastardisation of socialism that was set up in America in terms of, establishing corporate capitalism, which, corporate capitalism first got its feet under the table as the Federal Reserve printing the money. A corporation, a little private syndicate printing America's money and charging America interest for printing money, and then printing extra money on request of the government, and then getting more interest back from that even. I mean, it's just gone on and on. It was a madness, that's just got worse and worse, and it's got so bad that, you know, they've even been able to fake moon landings. And people refuse to believe it. They refuse to believe it. But at the same time, you know, we have to accept facts. I didn't want to believe they didn't go to the moon. But after 2009, you know, I was on the fence about it all when I saw the photographic evidence and stuff. But after 2009, I was convinced. I've been convinced. And I was angry at first. Though, like I say, I understand why they did it, the reasons that they gave, but really I don't understand why they did it, because it is never good to lie to a whole species. And then the species start finding out about the lie. And like Bart Siebel, for example, you know, he's done some amazing videos about the moon, you know. This is an amazing video, Only a Paper Moon. But Bart Siebel has done some really fantastic work, and it's absorbed.
The official record of mankind's exploration of
Sorry,
the moon.
It's absorbed his whole life, you know.
Last year I uploaded a video on Bart Siebel.
And it's just really sad that he grew up believing that he'd been to the moon, and then he suddenly realised, and that has absorbed it. You know, he spent his whole life, and I mean, I'm giving him a bit of publicity here because, you know, you can go on his videos. He does need some help. He needs some cash. He's trying to make a full-length feature film about the moon landings, and I say support the guy. He's devoted his whole life to trying to expose this truth. He's been out. He's had the courage to actually go and confront the astronauts themselves. You know, he even took a punch on the face of Buzz Aldrin. You know, and so I say, yeah, give the guy some support. Let's have his film. Why not? You know, let him make his film. And that's what I'm saying. We do need to support the people who are actually trying to do something. And, you know, that is why I've made my videos, this series part 1, part 2, part 3. This is the introduction, the condition of being human. And Bart Siebel's a prime example of being human, of being an intelligent human who is intelligent enough to ask a question. Okay? He is like a child. He's brave, courageously asking questions. And when people refuse to give you answers to the questions, the people who are in power, he's right, we are right to be very, very concerned, because what are they doing in power if they cannot even give us credible answers to credible questions? Why are they there? Because every power needs to be accountable, especially in a democracy. We're not living in a democracy if the powers that be are not accountable to us, and they refuse to give us credible answers to credible questions. And if we are meant to be afraid of asking certain questions, no. And we're in a very, very serious situation right now. Our planet is in a very, very serious situation. And that's why I'm saying to people, stop painting your nails and worrying about your eyebrows right now. I'm not saying it's wrong to paint your nails, or it's wrong to do your eyebrows, it's wrong to look pretty, you know. But what I'm saying is that these are a distraction at the moment. The world is distracting us with things it can buy, you know. And I've been explaining this to people about this type of technology that is now on the horizon. And when we look at this level of technology, and we think about how many children have starved in this world and suffered in order to provide money for the corporations, who are then doing this and saying they're doing it to help babies under 30 weeks. How many children, living children that have been born, have simply been denied food for them to develop this technology. And we cannot forget that that price has been paid, and why? And ask the question, why? And I've made my videos. I know that people judge me, you know, and it really doesn't bother me. You know, the only people that have power to hurt me, really, emotionally, are those who have been friends and family, close, personal, in my life, which is now, you know, there's very few of them going to get across my door, because I'm aware of the levels of psychosis that's going on out there. I'm aware that, you know, somebody like me inherently upsets people's sense of self. Not because I'm superior or lord it over people. It's just because I'm intelligent and of the way I am, and people feel a lot of people feel intimidated. You know, and then they feel a need to try and bring me down in some way, or apparently I'm on a high horse. But no, it's them who are on a high horse. And then they feel judged by me just by my being, because I don't need a high horse. I'm on the ground. And as I say, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else. I'm saying I'm the same as everybody else. We're all equal. We're all equally intelligent, and we all equally have the capacity to connect with the truth and to connect with reality. And that's what we've got to do now. This is what we have to do. We need to connect with reality, look at the real risks here, just as TSA consider every American citizen, even American children, as a serious threat that they need to be thoroughly searched before they get on a plane. Okay? We need to be, at least have some level of suspicion about what is going on with the technology and where we're at today with it all. Okay? And we need to start asking credible questions and requesting credible answers. NASA's standard no comment is not good enough for the amount of money that they've had out of the taxpayers. And while all this money has been poured into a hoax, we know that it has actually been used to develop things like satellites and stuff like that, spying on people, and you know, that is what the Apollo missions were all about, really. The moon was a cover for installing spy satellites in space. Probably. I can't say for sure, but probably it was. And so, you know, there is a need for the human condition to get wise, get active, as it were. Now, in this series, I do mention Deborah from the chapter in the Bible, in the Old Testament, and she's under Judges. And I do find herself and Barak, who was the leader of an army of 10,000 men, I think, I do find their story so interesting, because, you know, Deborah goes to Barak and asks him to help her defeat the mighty Sisera, who was going to attack Israel. And so Barak says to Deborah, if you will go with me into battle, I will go. But if you will not go with me, I will not go. And I think that idea that a man, you know, a guy who's leader of an army of 10,000 men, feels stronger with a righteous woman at his side. You know, that a righteous woman at his side helped give him the strength to go to battle. But if she wasn't going to be with him, he wasn't going to go. And that's the whole thing that I'm trying to explain about our society, is that the woman has not been with the man. You know, it's not that the man said, oh, you know, the woman's gone to the man and says, please help me. And he says, only if you stand by me, I'll help you. The man said to the woman, you're mine, I own you, you're my possession, and you're going to do what I say. You know, which is a completely different thing, isn't it? And it's that understanding of the divisions, of how we've been divided in every which way, and how these divisions then create their own little battlegrounds, and they become competitions within themselves. So everywhere is a competition, and that is basically the crux of the whole situation, is that instead of living with compassion, we're living in a competition. There's no room for compassion really in a competition, because if you want to be a winner, then the less compassionate you are, the less honest, the less truthful, the less lawful, the more likely you are to win in the competition. But that does not mean, but the competitions are actually damaging life. And we are created to live with compassion. We're meant to be a compassionate species. We're a very fragile species on earth out of all the animals. And we are very dependent on our intellect to survive. And that's why it's very important that we get with the truth, because the truth is the rock. And it does not matter if you feel a truth is against you. You feel because you've been living outside the truth and now the truth is hurting you. You need to remember, no, what it's doing is it's hurting the parasite, the barbarian, that has been implanted in your mind by this fantasy man that stems from Roman society. The wolf consciousness, the barbarian, has been implanted in your psychology from birth, as childhood. You know, you think it's you. No, it's hurting the barbarian. And as I say, the only way, if you're afraid of terrorists, remove the terrorist within, the terrorist that has been controlling you on a subliminal level. Okay? And connect with universal love. Universal love. I mean, this is just so beautiful, isn't it? It's a work of art, but it's reflecting the natural work of art that is our beautiful universe, and that is reflected in life on earth. And we live in a lawful universe. And so, you know, I hope that people who listen to my videos, who take time and trouble, who are prepared to share them, and who, you know, will accept my experience, who can have faith in me, who can trust that I'm being honest and truthful, and I'm not lying to people. Okay. That people will connect with that, and at the same time, you know, connect with themselves. Connect with themselves and share the information. But please, please be wary of people who are trying to get money, who use anything that I've said, like, for example, universal law of abundance in compassion, the light being experienced. If, you know, somebody else starts using those things and starts claiming themselves to be the next Messiah, okay, do not believe them. The universe chooses. And the universe would not choose somebody who's going to set themselves up as some sort of demigod I mean, a lot of people, if they'd had my experience, especially a man, really, certain men, they would have been parading about as the second coming. You know, I know that there's people who've been jealous of my experience. I've been informed. You know, I didn't understand. So it was somebody who told me, said, no, you've been suffering from intellectual jealousy. I mean, good grief, I've had jealousy over my physical looks. I never realised there was such thing as intellectual jealousy and spiritual jealousy. You know, and I have suffered even from that. So, you know, I know the kind of psychologists that are out there, and they will try to manipulate any truth, and they'll create evil out of it. You know, just as looks what's happened to the concept of socialism. They create evil out of things. Even the best things, they will create something evil out of it. So, and that's why I've made my videos, is to guide, to shine a light, to honestly and openly share my life experiences and what I've learnt from that, and what I've learnt from the universe, what I've learnt from knowledge, education on earth, what I've learnt from the humanity, the people around me. Because everybody, we all teach each other, and even the people who've treated me badly have taught me something. Because, you know, the products of a bad world, I can't really blame those people personally. I love their humanity within, that I know is trapped within. You know, a friend has treated me bad, but I know that my friend is in there somewhere. I'd rather rescue my friend from the badness, you see. And that's the way that we need to look at it. And because we need to lose the hate. Hate the crimes. Hate the fact that people have been conditioned to behave that way. But love the humanity, the human being that is trapped somewhere inside there. Okay. And I think we've got to find ways of helping each other to accept the truth, but in as kind a way as possible. But at the same time, recognise that certain people are very dangerous and they do need to be incarcerated for psychiatric help, you know. People that have hurt children, for example. Some people are dangerous. The kind of men that want to go round raping and murdering women, you know. Some people are dangerous, you know, they can't be helped. So we have to recognise who is very dangerous, who's simply mixed up and is behaving in a bad way that's hurting people, but they're not killing anybody, they're not causing physical damage to people, but they are causing severe emotional and psychological damage. And also to recognise, if we find that within ourselves, to have the courage to face up to it and say, gosh, I have been a bad person. And then stop being a bad person. You know, find the courage to change. And when people, if people do reach out to us and say, I'm really sorry, I was behaving badly, I was very confused, and I'm sorry about that. To have the courage, we need the courage, capacity, strength to be able to forgive that person if we know when somebody's genuinely sorry or not, and to let go of hate and pain. I've done it in my life. I've done it repeatedly. People have come and apologised to me in tears sometimes, and what they did to me at the time was bad, you know. I mean, it really did have a bad impact on me. But when I've confronted them, and it's not that I've confronted them, they've found me and really sincerely apologised. And forgiveness has been instant. And then I've completely forgotten about that then. It's not like I forgot about it, like it's vanished from my mind. But what I mean is it's no longer painful. It's no longer, it's something that, yeah, that happened. It's like a book, closed. It's not still hanging over me, you know. And so we do need to be able to forgive people as well, to help. We've got to help one another. We've all got to help one another, and we've got to help our planet. Our planet needs help, and our children's future is at stake here. That is what is at stake, the future of our children. That is the future of our species. And collectively, all the children on Earth represent the child, the universal human child. And we do need now to focus all our attentions on that child and do everything we can to stand up for that child and stand up for their rights. And so, you know, huge thanks to everybody that takes time and trouble to listen to me. You know, I know that I'm not a brilliant presenter, and my voice at the moment's not very good because I do suffer from autoimmune problems, and sometimes I get respiratory problems. But at the same time, you know, and I also have complex PTSD. My speech isn't brilliant, and I've totally ad-libbed these. Some things I do right, my writing, if I write things, are usually a lot more concise, but I've just given these videos pure from my spirit, soul, as I deliver it, so it's natural, and as I say, so it's understandable by everybody that hears these things. And I'm not saying I'm exactly correct and right on everything. I say I'm honest as far as I understand. Throughout my life I've been changing, growing. We change as we grow. I'm not saying there isn't more things to understand, that I might change my mind, but this is where I am. I think I've reached quite an in-depth understanding of what's going on, and one thing I do know for sure is that the deeper you go into reality, the deeper you are aware of your life and your history, then the taller and stronger you can grow. And you know, that is what we need to do. We need to reconnect to our roots and grow up now, you know. And because I do understand that humanity, you're at a youth stage. It doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're 8 or 80, you are a youth. That's the consciousness that we are right now. And it's time to, you know, start growing up. And so, you know, love and God bless to all.